dancing behind me. He was spotted showing off his moves. So this is at Dubai Mall. So his usual trick is he tries to go undercover. He hides his iconic afro hair. Then in the videos when people saw him in Dubai Mall, he was quickly recognized by his fans and they went wild. This is more of a prank video, but we actually have videos where he's walking through the crowds at Dubai Mall as well. And when they recognize him, they're all like, pick, 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 stop, 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 stop.
Now, the German TikToker is well known for his dance, prank, hair, and comedy content, often surprising bystanders by revealing his hidden afro and busting out his dance moves, which is really nice. And by the way, it's crazy because comments are like, how do we call him a star?
Well, he's got 40 million likes on TikTok. And it's that type of comment that someone just drops in, being like, why would you call him a star? I'm like, why do you comment these things? Like, what do you gain from it to acknowledge? Now, if you go onto his TikTok, it's so simple, but it's so funny. Like, I just made me laugh when I was watching his videos. Like, all he's doing is dancing. He collaborates with people, and he does kind of like a silly prank here where he pretends as though like he's stealing something. But he's been in countries around the world, and he'll go up to like police officers in Brazil and be like, "I'm going to take your phone," and then he starts dancing. So like, it's a rehearsed skit. There's nothing actually natural about it. Like, you know, probably that the guys he's going up to probably know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's so funny, and 40 million people think it's funny too.
It is. You know, see, like this is exactly what we were talking about regarding social media. That it is the generation of, it's called the digital generation. It's called the fast generation, and I mean, we've seen how Charli D'Amelio, you know, she has gained a lot of like a lot of fans. She's gained a lot of fame just from dancing, and that is like, this is exactly like what I would say this digital generation is all about. Fast, anything, and they just did not want to. They work smarter, not harder. I've heard this a lot. Like they actually they know what they're doing, and they're not designed for the 9-to-5 job. They don't do it. They're like, no. And it's, by the way, there are memes on TikTok about that. Like, oh yeah, you know what? You're from that generation. Yeah, you're not going to do the 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, true. It would be interesting to see how the world of employment evolves, because we have had, you know, we are quite a young company. We have the sales and the commercial side, and then we have the content creator news side. And we have had a couple of people through the door, already content creators in their own right, who tried the 9-to-5 and were like, not for me.
Yeah.
And in, you know, it's fine now because there's plenty of people who will take the jobs in their wake. But in, you know, in 10, 20 years, will the 9-to-5 be obsolete if that generation are saying, we're actually not going to do that?
Yeah.
but then they start their own companies with a different, so there has to be a system that works, because work still needs to happen. Money still needs to be made. People need to pay for healthcare.
That's true.
So either they'll develop a beautiful system and we'll be the mugs sitting here who've done the 9-to-5 for 40 years, or the system, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And they'll have to toe the line and come back to 9-to-5.
I personally think, because I have a lot of friends that are like, you know, they work like 9-to-5, and I have friends who are content creators and make money out of their own content. So seeing both sides, I've seen like, you know, like a lot of them go like, oh, you know what, I make my own content. I wake up at the time that I want to wake up, and I know what I'm going to do, and I'm making money. And there are other people who like, they just like stability. So it differs from, I would say, one person to another. But I feel like if maybe companies just like maybe accommodate to the new generation, the digital generation.
I think just on what you were saying there's two types of people, and content creators, I think they should be respected because I think they're entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And not everyone could deal with a 1 month salary is up here, 1 month is down here, because when you get a little bit older, you have certain bills that will need to be paid. So if content creators can make a living working for themselves as entrepreneurs, you need to be consistently creative. You need to work 24 hours a day. Like, yes, they can wake up at their own time, but there's still a lot of work that goes into it. I think fair play to them, but it's not for everyone. And some people crave routine and stability, and being able to shut your laptop at 6 p.m. and go home and to forget about it all weekend. essentially you have 2.5 days where you don't need to think about work, that should be the aim, then that's got benefits too that actually we probably don't really talk about that much. Like no one really talks about the fact that if you're a content creator 7 days a week, if you're a employee,
you have like
at least you have 2.5 days where you shouldn't be thinking about work.
That is true, by the way. And by the way as well, like I feel like we do not appreciate the content creators much. And people do get pissed off that we call them stars. Like they are stars because like they work a lot and they just like, didn't like, oh yeah, make a video, sleep, wake up and have like 4 million, I don't know, like followers. They probably like worked so
100%.
hard, as you said, 7 days a week with no days off, you know, like, and probably the person who's commenting is like probably a 9-to-5 employee with a very secured salary at the end of the month. And they are just like judging, which brings us back to the fact that, you know, people are very opinionated on social media. So
and it's really easy to be opinionated from your couch.
Yes, literally. It's very easy to be like, oh yeah, he's doing something wrong. Yeah, well, why don't you come and do it yourself? You know, it's like,
I'd love to see you dancing at Dubai Mall. That is something that I could never, ever do because I'm so uncoordinated. Anyway, it's 8:55.